All right, gaming consoles, hard to find when it comes to PS5 and also those Xbox Series X. So helping us look for them, helping us find those consoles that you want, U.S. Editor-in-Chief from TechRadar, Matt Swider, joining us live here on News Now from Fox. And once again, just want to say thanks for being here with us. What you've been doing is sending out tweet alerts as these items have been coming into stock. So, Matt, talk about why these seem to be so hard to find.
Right. It's really the production delays due to COVID, and also the fact that everybody has been working from home, and therefore they bought up a bunch of computers. Well, those computers share the same components, the GPUs, the CPUs, that are inside the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. So there's really a scarcity of resources.
And let's talk about these two different gaming systems. So which one, let's start actually with PS5. That seems to be a really popular one when I've been looking at your Twitter page, and they of course go out of stock in an instant as soon as they do supply them. So what makes it so special that people are looking for the console?
Well, this is not like an iPhone where a new iPhone comes out every year. It's been 7 years since the last consoles came out. So Sony and Microsoft wait a long time between fresh new consoles. They'll have minor upgrades every couple of years, but 7 years is a long time. So people are just clamoring for this, and the fact that there's production delays tied with the fact that these come out very rarely and it's a major upgrade. It created a run on the systems, and retailers are not allowing people to go into stores to buy the consoles. So you have to order it online, and certain retailers either ship it to you or you have to pick it up in store. And that's created a lot of confusion for people. And I'm there sending out these alerts to kind of alert people and let them know you can buy it right now, but please don't go into the store.
Right. If you go in the store, you're not going to find it there. So let's, before we go to your Twitter page, let's talk about the Xbox Series X, because that's also been one that's been hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, it's Microsoft's console. It's very powerful. There's two versions, the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. The S is actually fairly easy to get right now. It wasn't before, but you'll see it in Walmart and Target on shelves in certain locations. But the X, still really hard to nab. Target did a restock this morning. The PS5, which is right behind me over that side, is probably going to restock tomorrow, but we never know until the second it happens usually. Sometimes I get a little heads up from the employees that kind of leak that information to me saying, oh, we have 40 consoles in stock. That means there's probably going to be a drop tomorrow morning. So that's really what I'm doing for the people, is trying to get the information to them before bots and scalpers try to nab it and resell it to other people for a much higher price.
And I'm just going to show off your Twitter page here, a lot of followers, and I've been one of those followers too. So how do you get these inside scoops on these restocks? Because it seems like the second that it happens, you're out there with those tweet alerts for all of the people trying to buy the consoles.
Right. Some retailers talk to me, some don't, but then usually the employees talk to me, and they're leaking information to me because they're so passionate about other people getting the console. Sometimes they don't even have the console themselves because they have a rule where employees can't take the consoles from their own store for themselves. So that's a pretty good rule. But I think the fact that they want to see other people get the console, and the right people. My audience tends to be a lot of parents, even grandparents are looking for their grandchildren to get them a present. Father's Day is coming up, graduations are coming up, and people just want to see other people happy, and they're leaking information to me, and I'm trying to put it out there to the people.
And the people sure do appreciate it. We've had quite a few success stories that I've gotten to follow on Twitter. Are there any that stand out for you that seem to be your favorites? It seems like every time you push out those Twitter alerts that there's a restock, then you get a lot of replies saying, oh my gosh, I finally got it after months of trying.
Right. People have been trying since November 15th. That's when these consoles had launched, the 12th and the 15th of November. They've been trying over 6 months. And you have to think that I really like when kids get it, and sometimes parents send me videos of them crying. So it's kind of funny to see that reaction, because they're so surprised at this gift, because they were promised that during Christmas. Then the parents say, all right, we don't have that gift, but it's coming in January. But they didn't get it in January. That's usually what parents say. Oh, we'll get it in January. February went by, and then March, April, May, and they may not get it till June. So they're overjoyed by the time they get it. But the special ones for me are the U.S. military, when they're able to get this console because they want something during their downtime. And whenever a soldier messages me, I always I can't reply to everybody, but I try to reply to those and thank them for their service. And it's a little piece that we can do for them.
And let's just talk about tips then, because different resources have different ways that are best to be buying these items. And so what's really great is on your Twitter page, where a lot of people have been following you, maybe on your Instagram too, you've been giving some advice on to, okay, if you're buying it from Target or Walmart or directly through Microsoft, here's what you need to be doing. Refreshing the page, not refreshing. It takes a lot of work sometimes to learn about each store.
And it's difficult because every retailer is different. So Best Buy, you don't want to refresh. PlayStation, the official store, you don't want to refresh. But most of the others, it'll say out of stock almost instantly. But what they do, and what people don't know, is they release these consoles in waves. So Microsoft is notorious for this, and Target is notorious for this. They'll say out of stock initially, and then you keep pressing that add to cart button, refresh, hit that add to cart button again. It seems like it takes up to 30 minutes at some retailers. And I think that's the best advice is people just immediately reply to me, oh, it's out of stock already, it's gone. And they're frustrated. But what they should be doing is refreshing that page and keep trying. Also, bundles are the best thing that you can buy. It may come with a game, an accessory, maybe you want it, maybe you don't, but that's deterring a lot of scalpers because they can't resell that copy of Spider-Man to just anybody. They have to resell that to someone who wants that, and they can't really make a profit with bundles. So those tend to last, those tend to stay in stock a lot longer.
And I know that there's a lot of people out there who say they have these items and try to sell them in different ways. So you do also like to try to warn people who are following you, hey, don't just buy these consoles from anyone, especially for those who are jacking up the prices.
Yeah, so scalpers are bad, but worse than that are the scammers, and there are a lot from overseas. I was told by a cybersecurity expert that 75% of the scams are coming from India, and you're giving money through PayPal, friends and family, which has no protection, Zeal, Cash App, Venmo, Apple Pay Cash. These are all transaction methods that are meant for giving money to friends, people that not strangers on the internet. But they say, oh, I have one for $5.50, which seems like a markup until you realize tax and shipping, that price doesn't seem right. But people fall for it because they're so desperate for a PS5 or an Xbox, and they'll never get that console. The scammers go as far as writing the victim's name on there in front of the console because maybe they have one, and they're convinced because, hey, they have this console, they have tons of people vouching for them. What they don't know is that these are farmed out there. They create an entire network of fake profiles to say, oh, thanks for the console. So those are all fake. So that person falls for it. They see their name on the console, but they never get it. And the person, the harasser, the scammer, blocks them, and they never see the console. And I get messages every day about someone falling victim to it. So that's something I don't like to see. And I try to put as many warnings out as possible about that. So only shop at legitimate stores.
Yeah, and a warning that I feel like has been said so many times, but you got to keep reiterating it, especially when it comes to people desperate to find these consoles when they've been out of stock for months.
Yeah, so I get new followers all the time, and people direct message them on Twitter to say, oh, if you just missed it, I got an extra one. So it's very convincing, and I just put it out there because I went from 21,000 followers to 550,000 followers. So it's new followers every day. It's between 3,000 and 5,000 or 6,000 followers every day, depending on the day. And so those rules have to be repeated because I don't want people to fall victim. I want them to end up with one of the two consoles, and that's the ultimate goal. And I don't want them to overpay because that's exactly why they're not shopping from StockX or eBay, is because they'll pay $800+ for a console that is probably worth $400. And they'll pay $900 for the console version that's worth $500.
So finally, Matt, let's just talk about the best way people can get alerted to when these restocks are happening. And it is all about persistence, I've learned, because as I mentioned, followed you on Twitter. It did take a little bit of time, but finally, after following all your tips and being right there when the alerts come out, helped me successfully get an Xbox Series X.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such good news. I love that you got it. And that the persistence is key. It's not necessarily speed all the time. You should get there fast, only to be more persistent, only to try more times and refresh and tap that add to cart button more times. So that's where speed comes into play. But it's really about persistence and trying as many retailers as possible, setting up your online profile at the various retailers in advance. Target is the easiest one, I think, because you can add a PayPal transaction to that. So they have a little PayPal button. And what that does is it takes you off of Target's servers and puts you on PayPal servers. Target servers are being hammered. Meanwhile, PayPal, no one's using that. So that's like the number one tip I have if you're shopping at Target. There's all these tricks to each retailer. I try to get back to everybody who direct messaged me with some tips, but for the most part, you'll see them in my tweets, and I try to help out everybody. I would say don't wait until Christmas because everybody's putting off, oh, it'll be easier in a couple months. But I think there's going to be a run on the consoles again, even if they become in stock again. By October, they'll be gone. We saw the Nintendo Switch sell out 4 Christmases in a row, and it's still hard to come by during holidays. So I think they'll be even harder to get come November and December.
Yeah, so that's another good reason why to follow you. Not wait when you do see it in your bin, get that checkout going. So just want to say thanks again to Matt Swider, who's joining us here on News Now from Fox, giving us all the tips and advice on how to get your hands on those consoles. Thanks again, Matt.
Thank you. Enjoy your Xbox.
Thank you.